We don't have the scorching heat anymore. It is just 34 degrees, which feels rather cool in comparison to 38, 39, 40. It's not such a huge difference in number, but the feeling is definitely way different. What I'm showing you here is the now almost dried out grey water pond. We can make a few more steps towards the line of vetiver here in front of me. And you see there is a little bit, it looks like there is a snake, but it could be a dead snake also, or who knows. But you see there's someone down there. Maybe I can zoom in. There. Quite interesting. There is some moisture, but the moisture must be from the irrigation, from up there. So it maintains itself like this, of course based on the input. And you see how this looks like there at the edge. The vetiver is not really thriving, so it might very well be that some of these plants died off. Some are still there, but that's how they are. And the cattail is maintaining its position in this part of the grey water pond. So if I go up and take you to the other side, you can see how that looks. And the vetiver around here is a little bit healthier. I would think it had more access to water than the other one. There is water down there from a little bit of showering and washing and things like that. So if I go around, I can show you that in better detail. But once the rain comes back, which is not so far away, then of course this will start filling again. If there would be frequent showers throughout summer, this is how it would look like the whole time. Goes up and down, goes up and down. The irrigation is now doing the job of the showers. So I would like to think. But then of course, without the irrigation, this would all be absolutely dry, like a desert. And right here on the other side there is a wobbler, and you see the effect. So there are some warm season grasses, and they started to grow thanks to the irrigation, but beyond that, nothing. And that is why I keep saying I need a closed canopy, and the only way to get this is with these guys. I will not do anything else but focus on making a closed canopy in as much area as I can. And then we can start talking about other things. But for the time being, that is the only thing that I want to do. So thanks for all the nice suggestions, but I will do nothing of any of that, because this is the only feasible way forward, as I have determined based on practical experience. And here you can see why I say that. This is a swale. It was full for several months. Summer came around, it dried out, and so did the vetiver. So that vetiver is basically dead. This does not help. And despite the fact that there is a heat-loving tree originating in Africa, this is not a restored ecosystem. This is just struggling along, and without the irrigation over there, even that tree would not exist. And now I went a little bit further here in this wannabe food forest, and I'm in the shade of this older quejigo. It's a type of an oak The acorns are bitter, they are not sweet. The pigs don't like them as much as the other ones. They actually try to avoid eating them, but they will still do if there's anything else around. So you see how it looks like. Everything is dormant. Nothing will happen despite the shade, because there's no water. If the soil would contain a lot of water, which it does not because it has not organic compounds anymore, then here in this shade something would grow. For example, Bermuda grass or other warm season grasses. But that was a long time ago. And now summer means everything is dormant. And then the rain comes back for autumn and people start to get happy and talk about, oh, new forage, and now the animals have food and all this, and then the cycle of destruction continues. And that's why we are where we are. So I need to do something completely different, not continue the old patterns. And as people have been asking about the Miyawaki forest, no, that is also not a way. I had this feeling as I saw how the pioneer species, when there was moisture, overwhelmed everything. And there's no way to maintain a densely planted Miyawaki forest by going in there and removing the weeds. You cannot do this. And yeah, you can heavily mulch, but that mulch we did not have available. We would have to, we would have had to add maybe 50 centimeters of compacted straw to basically cover the whole area with a very, very dense organic carpet, basically, and then dig holes into this to set the trees. Maybe like this, but that's not a way how you restore land. That is if you want to establish certain species no matter what. And then you don't have to plant them as dense as the Miyawaki method tells you. You can simply plant them well spaced so that you can do maintenance in between. So this is not a fix for that. And therefore, closed canopy, that's the way to go. And it's not in the textbooks. This is not what you learn in ag school. That is not what universities teach you, because university teach you consensus, teach you things that have been like this and people have agreed on, and they have been in the past. This is a new situation, and I look forward and not backwards. I do this in my other work where it's about technology. It's all about development. Development means we figure things out and make them work. We don't cling to the past. We throw the past out. I'll give you an example from the world of technology. Apple, as a company, has this reputation and habit of cutting old ties. They remove things that people have been relying on. Then a few get upset, but they get over it. So first they threw out floppy disks. Then they threw out CD-ROMs. Then they threw out certain ports. And now there is a different type of computer. They change CPUs, the architecture. First they had PowerPC, then they had Intel, now they have their own chip design. So they move forward. They don't cling to the past just to maintain backwards compatibility. And that's my kind of thinking. So if I want to get this to work, to become a food forest, I need to have a closed canopy first. And then I can thin it out. So that light comes in selectively. Like in the case of this old tree where I'm standing. This tree would not have grown today. It has grown in the past when the situation were different. And now it does provide the shade. But the shade is worth nothing without the water. And the water in summer used to be in the soil. But today it's not. This was all wet for many, many months. ended spring, summer comes along, and yeah, now it's dry. It's bone dry, it's dust. And the organic matter sits on top of it. And there's no decomposition happening. There's no bacteria working because there's no water. And a closed canopy at least provides condensation and therefore some water. That is what a Mediterranean forest, as far as I understand it, is all about. Lots of condensation. I see this every day and I see it on my sensors. And the condensation does not work if you have that. A blue sky and the sun burning down from 70 degrees of elevation. So this is just the end stadium. And this can be fixed, but not by clinging on to the past. So I think it needs a novel approach, and I'm very happy that I have discovered these Palovnia trees. They may not be the most resilient species, but it does not matter. Their job is to add the resilience back into the system, into the soil, so that water actually stays down there. And I'm talking about surface to 4 meters down there. And there's nothing. And in 4 meters there's water. And nothing will come to the depth of 4 meters if there's no water. So this tree is there, which is why it exists. This tree has roots in 4 meters of depth. But others, like these, they are not so far yet. And if they ever get there, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I irrigate them so that I get a closed canopy. And then they have done their job. They are a pioneer species to me. In a textbook, they are not. I don't care. They are a pioneer species in my situation. And that's what I'm going to do going forward. So what works elsewhere, I don't care. But this will also work over there. And a few kilometers in that direction. Certainly. If you do the exact same thing. Don't try this 100 kilometers from here. Different situation. Don't copy what works elsewhere. Find a novel way in your own situation. But it takes time, resources, and experimentation. So I went here to also check out on the zucchini. They are looking good. They are big, too big now for my taste. The smaller ones I can probably use. But also we are coming to the end of the summer season, I would think. So the very big ones, there's a gigantic one down there. I give them to the pigs, not today, because I carried nothing but the phone. And so they get also some veggies. And I wish that this would be the patch right next to the house and the water balance would be here. They would certainly work better here. So my fault, I confused the two when they were very young and little. I won't make the same mistake twice. Here's an opportunity to answer another question. Are you planting oak trees? No, I am not. But they are planting themselves. So here, there are a few who did not make it. But there are others who seem to be doing well. Because there's irrigation. So that means the more I improve the hydrology of the soil by initially irrigating and aiming for a closed canopy, these guys can actually develop into a big tree, given that I exclude the area from grazing. And I can do this by fencing or by adding thorny stuff, or let thorny stuff develop on its own around this. So right there is a thorny one. And that is the natural way. But this will not work by planting oak trees. People do this. It looks great in the newspaper and on TV and gives you a few pats on the back. But it does not work. And if you want it to work, then you need to irrigate. And that's the part that is always left out, because it's not natural. Well, my approach is also not natural, but I hope it works. And then it can become natural as a second stage.